Hello and welcome once again to our local to global series here on the Random Wrestling Revue. We are course playing as the Random Wrestling Revue, and today we should be taking you all the way up to the end of 1998, another year potentially in the books, at least in game time. The first thing we're going to do immediately is move on to the end of the current month, and we've got a lot of things to do today. We've got our Christmas show, which is the main thing we are focusing on. I've already thought about this show quite a lot. I've actually thought about it for a lot because I took a bit of a break from recording. Not a massive one, but a break all nonetheless. And so I've been thinking about this show for a couple of days, and I've been looking forward to bringing it to you. So that's what we're going to do today, of course. I wanted to do one thing before we move on because I didn't acknowledge in the last episode the impact that Pat Patterson had as our new road agent. We had a successful show. I think it was Attitude Adjustment, it was called. It was a successful show. The matches were good. The main event in particular really lived up to the billing of a main event match, certainly for a company our size. And I do think that we have to commend the impact made by Pat Patterson as our new road agent, because previous to that, Bruce and Keith Hart had been doing the work as our road agent, and it was just never really right. It just never really worked. They just neither of them really are in that good enough really for that role. Pat Patterson's come in and immediately made a difference. That's really cool. Also, I guess I should ask you at this point. We've got a bit of time as we wait for December to begin. I should say at this point to give us a subscribe if you've been enjoying the series. And noticed that there have been a few videos. I'm recording this just after Christmas, and I've noticed that over Christmas some of the episodes have really done well, much better than I expected they would. Maybe that's because of some of the pictures I've used in the thumbnail for those episodes. I don't know. Whatever the case, if you are new to the series or you've just started watching, give us a subscribe. Continue to follow along. It's always appreciated. We've had some really nice comments as of late, so thank you for those as well. And immediately I can see the news here. Big win for Hulk Hogan. I'm assuming he won the Battle Royal. He did. He won World War III. They do this every year. I don't know why. The AI books 2 Battle Royals at World War III. One, which is the more important one, the 30 wrestler battle royal, which Hogan's won here. But they also then did a Booker T, won a 25 wrestler battle royal. I assume this is the way that the game, whoever made the mod, has built in the idea, the concept of World War III, right? Because World War III was a 60-man battle royal, and presumably the game doesn't allow for that. I don't know. Whatever the case, that's what's happening here. So Hogan's won that, but meanwhile, Ric Flair defeated Brian Pillman to retain the world title in a 99 rated match. Brian Pillman continues to be one of the best wrestlers in the game. We've also got some news here. Johnny Grunge extends deal with ECW on an exclusive written contract, and that's because WWC also came in for his contract. So I think we're going to be losing another wrestler. Now, this one, 25 days, yeah. So he'll be out of the company in 25 days' time. Now that is a little bit disappointing, a little bit annoying, because we did just set him up in a tag team with Kid Chaos. They both agreed to become a tag team, and I have not considered or thought about a way in which I'm going to deal with Johnny Grunge's exit, which is also annoying. But it's not the worst news. I mean, there are other wrestlers that would be a bigger problem for us to lose. Now, we're going to name the next show Double Trouble. And there's multiple reasons for that. The main one being that obviously Dave Batista who is the champion, will be defending his title against both Dog and Rose. That's what we found out on the last episode, the last event. That's what we found out at the last event in the series. I'm just going to check the availability on Friday, week 2. That is fine. Kimo's the only one who I was worried about, and he is available. So that is where we are. And I just thought I'd take you in the meantime to the rankings. You can see here Dave Batista, obviously champion. Dog and Rose are the top 2 contenders for the title, which is why Batista will be facing them both at the December show. Barry Buchanan is the next on the list with 7 points. Johnny Grunge has 6 points. There's a lot of wins to be losing from a lot of points, I should say, to be losing from the ranking system, which is actually probably a good thing. Underneath him, we got both Keith and Bruce Hart. Then we got CW Anderson on 4 points, Ekmo, Charlie Haas on and Ace Steel on 3 points, Buddy Wayne on 2, One Man Gang, The Shadow, and Kid Chaos all on 1 as well. Not sure what this is gonna mean for Kid Chaos. He is sort of he was getting to the point where I was starting to think, do I want to continue to keep him around? I think I do, but certainly that was becoming a consideration for me. And now his new tag team with Johnny Grunge is going to be having to be finished. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame in some respects, but nevertheless, that's what is happening. So I'm gonna have to think about that whilst this loads and we go towards Double Trouble. I don't think there was anyone I wanted to sign before I click continue. Let's just double check that there's no one else I want to bring in at this point. I think that's something that we need to start considering next month. Actually, interestingly enough, I literally just changed my plans for this show just before I came to start recording this. Because I was originally going to have Kid Chaos against the Shadow, but then I realised that the Shadow is James Storm, and I don't want to resume his feud with Kid Chaos just yet. Like, I feel like James Storm under the mask would be a little bit nervous about revealing the fact that he doesn't like Kid Chaos, and if they had to face each other in a match, I kind of feel like I'd have to address it. So I've actually put Johnny Grunge in the match with the Shadow, which I think works even better now because um because he's going to be leaving. So we'll give the Shadow a victory over Johnny Grunge, and that's what we would have to do anyway because Grunge is on the way out. Now, how I'm going to address that in the story in terms of Kid Chaos and Johnny Grunge having just become a tag team, I'm uncertain of. I don't know. I think I don't know whether I could do the same kind of thing that I did with the Public Enemy when Rocco Rock left, which was to say that they didn't address it on the last show of Rocco Rock, but then when they when Johnny Grunge arrived at the next show, which I think was the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, he just said, "Well, I can't now compete because Rocco Rock's left the company." So, yeah, I'm gonna have to think about what we do with that one. But in the meantime, everything else is set for this Christmas show, so we're going to go straight into it. Um, and we've got a number of things here that I want to do. So the first thing we're going to do is have Dog and Rose come out, and they are going to flip a coin to determine who will face Batista first. So they're going to come out and do a little thing where they kind of flip a coin to determine who's going to be the first person to face Batista, and the winner. I think we're going to have. Oh, who's the better of these two wrestlers? They're both pretty poor, aren't they? Rose wins the coin toss. That's what we're going to say. So Rose will have to face Batista in the opening match. Then what happens is Sean Stasiak comes out and he gets rid of Dog. For the next match, Stasiak warns Dog away from ringside. So effectively, this is Sean Stasiak trying to make sure that Dog doesn't get involved in the match that's about to happen, which is for the title. It's the first of the two title matches, and it's going to be the opener. I wanted to give Dave Batista as much of a rest between the two matches as possible. Dave Batista versus Rose, but this is not going to be a long match. Because what's going to happen is Dave Batista is going to win by intentional DQ finish. Yes, that's what's going to happen here. So effectively, what's going to happen is Batista is going to take on Rose, and Rose is going to intentionally get himself disqualified by bringing in an illegal object to attack Batista with, and then that's going to lead to him afterwards beating down on Dave Batista. Rose continues to hit Batista with Let's say it's a steel chair. And this is all being orchestrated by Bad Crew in that they want to give Dog the best chance of winning the title in the main event. So Rose basically destroys Batista with a steel chair after the match. He gets himself deliberately disqualified, so he gets this opportunity to attack Batista with the chair, and that's where we go from there. Then we're going to have the Shadow taking on Johnny Grunge. And this one a bit longer. I think we'll make this a bit of a longer match. But the Shadow's going to win his second match since coming in under a mask. Just to reiterate here, the crowd, the fans are not. We're playing this. Let me say it this way. We are playing this as if the crowd are not aware that James Storm is under the mask of the Shadow. Now, they might be. In reality, I can't guarantee that they're not, but that's how we're playing it. I'm going to continue anyway, despite Johnny Grunge not being happy because he's leaving, so it doesn't matter. We're going to have after the match. I've decided, and have Johnny Grunge come out. Yeah, Grunge grabs the mic and tells the fans he's leaving, apologizes to Kid Chaos. That's how we're going to address it. We're going to have Kid Chaos out there as well. He's not actually on the card that I've got planned, but this way I can get him on the show as well. So that's fine. So then next up, we've got another match. It is going to be 2 versus 2, and it is going to see Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson, another team that just formed, against Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan. In this one, we're going to make a bit more than that. Sorry, 12 minutes. The winner's going to be, I think, we're going to have Ace Steel pin Charlie Haas. We're going to have open match, tainted win, pinfall finish. Why not have a storytelling match as well? We need to book one, so this is as good a candidate as any. So Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson versus Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan. In fact, what we're going to do is add the new team as well. So what we're going to call Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson. Let's have them suggest some names, not high and mighty. Red Alert. Let's do that. That's rubbish, but I don't mind. So we're going to have them just be a unit, I think. So Red Alert are C.W. Anderson and Charlie Haas. Then after the match, they're going to have a little conversation. And this is going to be Anderson tells Charlie Haas that he is naive if he thinks they'll be. Oh, can't type. They'll be. Oh, this is not working. Hang on. Be successful being nice. So I think the idea here is that they've taken on a heel team. C.W. Anderson is still a heel. Charlie Haas is still a babyface. And Charlie Haas has tried to work the match like a babyface would. And C.W. Anderson after the match, with Charlie Haas having got pinned by Ace Steel, who has kind of won in a unfair way. C.W. Anderson tells Charlie Haas, "Look, you're too naive. We're not going to win any matches if you carry on like that." So that's kind of what happens there. Then we have One Man Gang against Buddy Wayne. Now, for this one, I don't know what I'm going to do now because I feel like I had an idea for what I was going to do with this match, but I feel like some of the other booking I've subsequently added to it in my head after thinking about it doesn't really work with it anymore. How about we go 7 minutes? We have all out match, and we have this one as a double DQ. Yeah, we're going to have this one as a double DQ finish. um, and a draw. I did think Womangang might be annoyed by this. Actually, I've got to be honest. So we're gonna protect him. The thing is, in our world, in RWR world, Buddy Wayne is pretty he's a pretty big deal. Like he's not nothing. Like he's was our first champion and everything. So they're just gonna have a 5 minute match here. They're gonna go to a double count out. Did I put double DQ? I think we'll go double count out. In fact, and yeah, they're gonna go to a double count out, and then after the match, have to be kind of separated by officials. So we're going straight in for um, one man gang into a big feud with Buddy Wayne. So I'm just putting here that these two have to be separated after the match. It doesn't have to be a long one. And we're going to add that as a storyline as well. I think that's a pretty big storyline for One Man Gang to be immediately involved in. And he's only just turned up, and he's up against, as I say, our first Northwest champion. So I don't have a problem with that. Just a lot of angles on this show. So because next we've got another angle, and this is where Ekmo reveals Kimo as his mystery partner. For the next match. Now, the idea in my head is that we've been promoting this show as one where Ekmo will face the Hart Brothers with a mystery partner, and that mystery partner is the returning Kimo. So the problem, though, is I haven't decided yet who's going to win this match. I suppose I don't actually. No, I wasn't going to give them. So we're going to have this as a draw. Another draw. But this one's going to go time limit finish, I think. That might be ambitious given who's involved, but if we give it a slow build, it might be okay. Um, yeah, we're okay there because I do want them. I don't really mind who won, but I think actually they need to draw. Given what I've planned to do next, I'm going to add them as a team as well. So I'm going to call Ekmo Kimo the Samoan Violence Connection. That's their team name. Team. So the Samoan Violence Connection are in as a tag team, and they will face the Hart Brothers in this one in a 15-minute time limit draw. Then we're gonna have one more angle, which is Batista coming to the ring for his main event. For the main event, still showing signs of injury after the earlier attack that he suffered at the hands of Rose. And then the match, Dave Batista defends against Dog in his second title defense of the night. 10 minutes, I think, is fine for this one. Batista's going to win. We're not going to give the belt to Dog or Rose, let's be honest with ourselves. That was never going to happen. I think what we'll do is we'll have some outside interference here, but it will be So Rose is going to come in and try and help Dog, but Sean Stasiak is going to balance it out basically and get rid of Rose mid-match this time. And then Batista is going to... Okay, well, Dog doesn't have the stamina. We're just going to go with it anyway. Yeah, and then Batista's going to make sure he gets the victory. Well, then Batista's going to win against Dog in a kind of more balanced and fair situation where it's one-on-one again. Let's have a look at the booking analysis. So Johnny Grunge is unhappy. That's fine. And these are the other matches, and they're all... there's no commentators, but we still don't need them. I'm just going to check that we're okay with our stories. So I'm going to remove... Do I want to end this storyline? I think I do, because we're kind of in a different phase with that. I'm gonna alter this one, which is going to be Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson as a team, is where that story now is. But anyway, versus One Man Gang's just starting. This is still going, of course. This is still going. Is there any other stories I want to add at this stage? I don't think so. So that's the show. That is Double Trouble, the Christmas show for the Random Wrestling Revue. We're not going to be penalised. Let's just go with this then. So this one is in front of 92 people, and it is a segment. We start with a segment rating of 23 as the Bad Crew come out, Dog and Rose, and say that they're looking forward to their title matches tonight. Then they're going to flip a coin now to determine who will face Dave Batista first. Rose wins the coin toss, which means he will face Dave Batista first. And this kind of explains away why one of them would be willing to sacrifice their title attempt for the other, because they both had an equal opportunity here to get the first title shot and therefore be the person who attacks Batista with the chair and deliberately gets DQ'd in the first match. Second reign of 23. We move on then. Sean Stasiak then comes out and tells Dog to get away from the ring. He says, you're nothing to do with this match, and I'm going to make sure you don't interfere. Segment rate of 24 as Dog retreats to the back, and we get our opening match, Dave Batista versus Rose, in a match that only goes 5 minutes 54 seconds, when Rose goes outside the ring, grabs a steel chair, and intentionally gets disqualified by hitting Batista with it. Dave Batista makes his 7th defense of the RWR North West title in a match that got a segment rating of 28, and that was largely down to Batista, who had an in-ring performance of 28. Rose just a 23. Actually, Batista and Rose both off their game, but have good chemistry, so that kind of maybe made up for their lack of form on the night. Next up, we get Rose continue to attack Batista with the steel chair after the match. This is all kind of exposing the orchestrated attempt to weaken Dave Batista ahead of the second title match that he's got later in the night against Rose's partner Dog. This one got a segment rating of 26. Next up, we get Johnny Grunge's last match in the company. He's up against The Shadow in a match that goes 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Shadow wins by pinfall. He gets an in-ring performance of 29. Johnny Grunge of 31. A segment rating of 33, though, is pretty decent as The Shadow continues his new phase within the company. Of course, it's James Storm under the mask of The Shadow, but he has been banished from the company since losing to Kid Chaos a few months back, and this is his way of being in the company again. After the match, Johnny Grunge grabs the mic and tells the fans that he's leaving the Random Wrestling Revue after nearly 18 months with the company. He apologizes to Kid Chaos for, leaving before they've had a chance to create this tag team that he feels would have gone all the way. But some things have changed in his life, and he needs to move on from the company. A segment rating of 19. That's the end of Johnny Grunge's time with the Random Wrestling Revue. Then we get Red Alert in their first tag team match as a kind of established tag team, and they take on Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan here, but they lose this match when Ace Steel pins Charlie Haas by using underhanded tactics. The segment rating got a 28, which is not bad. Ace Steel was a 29, Barry Buchanan a 27, Charlie Haas only a 24, C.W. Anderson a 25. Then after the match, C.W. Anderson tells Charlie Haas that he is naive if he thinks that they're going to have any success as a team by being nice guys, and he tells Charlie Haas that they need to change their tactics, their strategy. CW Anderson struggled when going off script, and Charlie Haas was terrible with no script to follow. So if I give these two a script, then this might be better. A segment rating only of 20, as this story between these two continues on, which has evolved, of course, since they were in a kind of sporting rivalry with one another. Next up, One Man Gang takes on Buddy Wayne, and they go to another draw following a double countout in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. A segment rating of 27. One Man Gang had an in-ring performance of 45, which is great, but Buddy Wayne, unfortunately, was off his game, and if he hadn't been, this might have been even better. And One Man Gang is getting better at his gimmick, apparently. So this kicks off the feud between Buddy Wayne and One Man Gang. Then after the match, the two continue to brawl, having been counted out due to getting distracted by brawling with one another outside the ring. And officials have to separate the pair to prevent the fight continuing. And this was a successful segment, a rating of 34. These two continue their feud in this one. Then we get Ekmo come out and reveal his mystery partner is his cousin Kimo, returning to the Random Wrestling Revue after over 18 months. Actually, in fairness, he this is kind of quite nice synergy with the fact that we're losing Johnny Grunge. Because I think Johnny Grunge came in not long after Kimo left the last time. Now Kimo's coming in almost to replace Johnny Grunge here. Kimo David, his gangster gimmick, has got an initial rating of all 4. I thought about changing it, to be honest, and I think when I originally brought Kimo in, I changed it from the gangster gimmick, but this time around I thought I'd just give it a go, see what happens, but it did get an awful rating, but I'm not overly concerned about that. They then face the Hart Brothers, and this one goes for 15 minutes, and the time limit expires. For a segment rating of 31, Kimo was head and shoulders above everyone else, and he has improved significantly since he was last in the company. And that might be just in terms of his popularity, because he, of course, now works for the WWF, so he's having regular matches on national television since he last was with us. Keith and Bruce Hart still hover around the 20 mark in terms of their in-ring performance, and Ekmo was a 27. Keith Hart was also of his game, but this was a good match, segment rating of 31, and the feud that is between these two teams continues here. Then we come to the main event, and first of all, Dave Batista walks out to the ring for that match, still showing signs of the injury that he picked up as a consequence of the attack from Rose earlier in the night. Segment rating here of 30. Batista showing, some good potential as an actor, which ultimately would prove in real life to be fair reflection of potential. And finally, we get the main event, which is a really poor match, segment rating of 24. Dave Batista defeats Dog in 8:39 by pinfall. We also saw Rose and Shawn Stasiak get involved. Shawn Stasiak preventing Rose from interfering and then taking him away and getting rid of him. Dave Batista makes defense number 8 of the RWR North West title, which I believe makes him the record champion in terms of defenses now with the belt. Batista had an in-ring performance of 30, Dog a 23, but the bout dragged in the middle. And that's the real problem here. Dog also was visibly tiring towards the end. So this only got a segment rating of 24, which is a real shame because it brings down the overall rating of the show to only a 28, though not absolutely terrible. And that is the show. There were some good matches in amongst all that, but the main event was a disappointment. The show increased our popularity in one region, which is important. If you look at that card as well, that is easily the longest card in terms of the numbers of angles that we've got on the show. Easily the longest card we've done so far in the save. So we're going to make a speech. I think it's important to give One Man Gang his props because he was fantastic. I also think, though, that having come in, Kimo complimented on a good performance. And I think that I'm going to give some props to Ace Steel because I thought he was quite good in that tag team match. And that's the end of the December show. Double Trouble, all kinds of stuff going on, lots of Double Trouble going on. Before I wrap up today's episode, there have been heavy rumours of a planned spending spree by CMML, who are looking to expand into new markets in order to capitalise on their recent momentum. So presumably their last show pushed them up in size to a point where they're now kind of really looking to expand. And just having a look at the titles quickly, the Northwest title to confirm indeed that Dave Batista with 8 defenses is now the most successful RWR North West champion of all time as we head into 1999. And I think with all that, it's about time I wrapped up. Thank you for watching today. I feel like it's been a bit of a hectic episode. with I went into it with minimal introduction. It was all business all the way through. If you've liked the video today, please give us a like, subscribe, as I said earlier on in the show, and please join us next time. Thank you very much.